Awesome. This is one of my favorite places to be, not only because this room is really cool, but because I love being amongst marketers. Marketing is one of my biggest passions, and it's a kind of a nerdy thing to love, but I do love being here. So today I'm going to introduce you guys, you lucky few here. I'm going to introduce you to post-click automation, and I'm going to talk about why it's where I believe that you should really focus your growth marketing efforts. And the reason why is because post-click automation really gives you the ability to engineer growth, right? Me as a marketer, I always wanted to be able to just use data, use math to grow a business. And if you could truly put $1 in and get more than $1 out, then you basically have the formula that you need as long as your product has at least some product market fit. And so I'm going to be talking about that today. A little bit about me, most of it was already introduced, but again, my name is Tyson Quick. I founded this company in 2012, and our company is on a mission to automate advertising conversion, given that it's already a $330 billion market and on track to be a $500 billion market by 2023. And we are on a mission to make that investment, just make that investment better. So a little bit about Instapage real quick. Again, we've been around since 2012. We have about 220 employees and over 10,000 customers using our product today. But let's talk about this. Let's bring this into a narrative, right? I'm happy to announce that we are now in the personalization era. The personalization era has finally arrived. You know, and how did we get here? We got here over the last 400 years of improving increasingly sophisticated channels, right? We started in like the 1600s with leaflets, and then we moved into newspapers, and then eventually into magazines and TV, and then the internet. And today, when we have mobile devices in over a billion people's pockets, that have tons of information about their interests, their likes, their locations, and so we really truly have transformed into this age where personalization is truly here, right? And with this proliferation of personal mobile devices and internet usage has brought about over 1 trillion different audience data points that us as marketers can leverage to target and drive traffic to the products and services that we have. So, and real quick, by a show of hands, how many of you are a B2C focused company? So we have about half you, and then B2B? Just see, okay, so it's like 60-40, I'd say. That's great. B2B, by the way, is a little bit of a smaller advertising market, but this methodology is true for everyone that's driving traffic. So we've entered this age where there's literally limitless possibilities to segment and slice and dice and target and think about how we're going to reach customers. That's no longer a problem. That's the easy part now. And just to put it a little bit more into perspective, these companies, both Google and Facebook, are both in the top 10 largest companies on the planet and are both on their ways to both being trillion-dollar companies, right? Trillion-dollar companies because they have built this business model that allows us to reach customers, right? And that's larger than most countries' GDPs and built on the backs of advertising dollars. The problem, though, is that only about 4% of all of that ad traffic actually turns into a conversion, right? So 96% of this $500 billion we're about to spend by 2023 per year is going to waste. Now, part of that is brand building and awareness, but out of that, about 60% is direct response. So we want an action to be taken. So we're still talking about today a $180 to $200 billion market where almost none of that is materializing into conversions. And we think that we found the main thing, the main reason why, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, and that is that almost everyone still does this. They have an ad and they target it. This is an example of HelloFresh, and I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek. They actually don't do this. This is how they were doing things. And someone searches and shows their intent, and they type in recipe and food delivery, right? So we generally know the intent of that person. It's the magic of Google. And then this ad says, HelloFresh, get $80 off for food and home delivery. And when they were sending this traffic to their homepage, or even just a page on their website, there's a lot of information there. First of all, there's nothing about that $80 off that I have to search and hunt for that. There's a lot of other generalized information that's really for an exploratory browsing user, right? This is a person that had intent. They want something, they want it now, and they don't need to know everything about you. Your website plays a role for the majority of your traffic, hopefully, that is organic. And we'll talk about what they do instead of this. And this is just another example of what's going on in this comprehensive website. So before we get into some of the nitty-gritties, this is the slide that I would suggest to take a picture of if you have some stakeholders that you want to convince to invest in this area of growth. But these are some statistics taken from some of the leading research firms. From left to right, 90% of consumers find non-personal brand advertising or brand messaging in general annoying. They don't like it. I don't like it as a consumer. 81% of consumers want brands to understand them better, especially given that we know better. We have the information. 94% of marketers are already starting to implement personalization technology because people get it. We're consumers too. We want things to be more personal to us. And for me, what I find most exciting in terms of growth, marketing, and creating predictable growth, there's a 5 to 8 times higher ROI on marketing spend that uses personalization, right? It's a massive difference in an ROI on that investment. And so for us, this is really a new way of thinking, but it's almost common sense. And whereas we are moving from campaigns where you typically have a campaign, you typically do the segmentation for your audiences on Facebook or Google if it's keywords, but then most of that traffic, not all of it, but most of it goes to the same generic page as your other campaign or your other audiences. Why segment audiences if they're all going to go to the same place anyways? You got that click, but they're not going to convert because that's not what they wanted. And so it's a shifting thought to say, what if every one of these audiences that had a certain keyword intent or different demographic actually got a narrative that speaks to exactly what they hoped to get when they engaged. And that's a new way of thinking. And we call this category post-click automation, right? We have pre-click automation, if you think about it. You can set it up, and so automatically the advertising networks will go out and find those people and even do some optimization for you or show your ad when a keyword is searched. We already have some generalized marketing automation for email nurturing, right? You're not going to send the same email to the same person, so you have marketing automation, which is really email nurturing automation. And you have a lot of other automation built into billing and these things, but what about automating the post-click stage, the most important stage, because that's where most advertising and marketing dollars are being spent in paid. And again, as we established, it is the most predictable way to reach new customers. And so when people are thinking about how do I hack my growth, well, if you get really good at targeting people on ads, which all of the tools are there for you, and you get really good at connecting those ads to personalized experiences, you're going to create more conversions that then you're going to pass to your billing fulfillment or to your marketing automation for nurturing if you're B2B. But you have to connect those dots. And so what is post-click automation, right? We've personally grown from a landing page product to what we call an advertising conversion cloud that is a solution for the post-click automation category that we've created. And it's really 4 main things. And from importance, the first is ad-to-page mapping. So how are you going to better map an ad to a page, right? You need technology for that. In the same way that you need technology for mapping emails our audiences to specific emails. You need to be able to scalably create, because trying to create all of these pages one-off doesn't make sense. There's a lot of great products, one of which we used to be, to creating a couple landing pages, but you need to create hundreds, maybe even thousands eventually. And so you need technology that has built scalability into it. So things like repeatable page sections and different templatized systems to reuse it as if it's a brand kit. And of course you need personalization, because if someone's coming from a different location, or they're a different demographic, or they've searched something different. We were talking to a mattress company, and they have $30 million in just Google search advertising spend a year alone. And they have searches like best mattress for back pain, or best mattresses for stomach sleepers. And all of those go to the same mattress page. Well, what's the narrative? Why is this mattress better for a back sleeper or a stomach sleeper? I need to have narrative that meets the intent that I had. And so you're going to need to do dynamic changes. And then, of course, on top of all of that, of course, you need the traditional ability to do A/B testing optimization, as well as gather visual insights using things like heat maps. And these things work together to form this new category called post-click automation. And doing this has a proven lift, at least for us, and I'm sure that other companies that are implementing similar systems have a similar result. But for us, across our 10,000 customers and over 1 billion unique visitor views annually across our network, what we see is the average conversion rate moves from 4% to 16%. Right? And that's average across all the industries. It's slightly variant depending on the industry. But if you were spending $1 million per year, or even 100,000, let's take 100,000, and you want to get 4 times more out of that money, you would have to, or 4 times more results, you would have to spend an additional $300,000 to get the same quantity of conversions, either sales or leads, as opposed to just implementing better ad-to-page personalization and at scale. So we have a saying at our company that it's easier to convert a click that you already have than to acquire a new click. And I don't know if it's actually easier. It's pretty easy to get a click, but it's definitely a better business model. And we just like the riff off of that, that saying. All right, so how do we do this? How do we start implementing this today? Well, the first is you have to realize that your audience on all of your ad networks are made up of different things that you can glean information from. One is demographics. Another is behavior in terms of retargeting or what they've done. Interest or intent based on what they've liked on Facebook or what they searched on Google. And then new things like psychographics. And so this builds these profiles, and hopefully you're leveraging that into your advertising. It's really scientific, and you can have a lot of fun with it too. If you're a marketing nerd like me. And then once you have that, that's really your personalization profile. That's who the people are. And so when you're building your post-click, you're going to say, well, I know who this person is. I can have a pretty good assumption of what they're going to want to see on that page. Let's take a demographic. If this is a product for, say, a CMO versus a director of marketing, well, what's going to be different about that CMO? If I'm targeting that person on the ad networks, well, when they come to the page, at least I can say, as a CMO, you need higher advertising conversion. If it's the digital marketer, well, how should I message to them? Like, as a digital marketing manager, you need to deliver results to your CMO. I mean, this is just a small example for the B2B folks out there, but you need to make sure that you're speaking to the people that engage with your advertisement. So, what is like personalized advertising? Personalized advertising is leveraging all of the data and delivering unique ads that match the intent that they have, whether that's someone looking for a vacation in a certain area, and then they start seeing videos from a tour operator on Facebook, or it's Google and someone's searching for software for whatever. Our ads should resonate with that intent. And then you need to just continue that intent on through your post-click experiences. You need to, in short, you just need to meet the expectations that your users had when they engage with your brand. And I will also mention that it's not just important to do this for higher conversions. I mean, that's the no-brainer. But if you're converting about 16%, right? Well, okay, you've captured 4 times more, and we found that it's 80-20. It's about 20% of people tops are probably ready to convert right then and there. But for the other 80%, it doesn't matter what you do, at least you can deliver them a high-quality post-click experience so that when they do make that decision to buy, they remember that when they were searching and discovering new solutions, that you gave the best, most relevant pitch to them, and they're more likely to come back to you anyways. And so the conversion rates on doing this are likely much higher than the 16% that we see on average, or the 400% increase in ROI. So just in closing, we got about 5 minutes left here. This is what HelloFresh is actually doing today, and they do this at massive scale. They spend over $50 million a year on digital advertising, and they send their traffic like this here. When you search and you see that ad, get 80% off, the page, first and foremost, starts with get 80% off, or $80 off, plus free shipping, plus they go into the main benefit that they shop, they plan, they deliver, and it's a step-by-step recipes and ingredients. And basically, this whole page is built based on its narrative and its user experience to answer the question for this person that we're the right solution for you. And taking the time to do this is the easiest thing that you can do to create predictable scientific growth for your business. And if that doesn't work, then those customers don't want what you have to offer anyways, because that's the best chance you have. Another example would be Airbnb, and this one's easy because why would they do anything else? But when Airbnb realizes that you're looking for vacations, they have a lot of really great banners that show the place that you're looking at. And then you click on it, and they just give you a very simplified post-click experience that has that location. It looks beautiful. The headline is changed to match that location. But it doesn't have to just be for the travel industry. This should be for all products and services. All products and services should offer ad-to-page personalization. And those that do will reap the biggest rewards and be able to predictably grow their businesses. So just in summary, we've created this advertising conversion cloud to make it easier to do this at the same scale in which you can deploy advertising. Because if you can't do post-click at the same scale in which you can do ads, then there's a really big mismatch here. And that's the problem that we're solving, and we hope others solve it as well. We think this industry is really big, and it's the next big frontier for just marketing and advertising efficiency, right? If you have a $500 billion market with this big of inefficiency, who is here to make that investment more meaningful, and who's solving that problem? We're working on it. We hope that we see a lot of you guys starting to adopt this best practices around post-click automation, and we hope that we see more players in the market as well, because I just don't think it's fair to consumers or businesses to have so much inefficiency or just non-enjoyable advertising experiences. Those were a few other companies that we're working for. So if you were to take this talk away and try to put it into action, my suggestion to you would be first start by segmenting your audiences. Take a breather, segment your audiences, really focus on who you think is going to be the most probable to convert, not just personas, but also locations and different things there, or search intents. And then create personalized page experiences for each audience. And I would start with an MVP, right? But for us, an MVP means minimum viable page, right? You don't need to go overboard. Typically, I would just suggest to start with the what, why, how, and who, right? And that's your narrative of your page. And that's really what consumers want anyways. What is it that I'm looking at? Okay, why should I buy from you? Okay, how does it work? Who's using it? Great, right? And then build it off from that. But if you deviate from that narrative, you start to lose the magic of narrative-based advertising conversion. And then from there, you can start to optimize and segment further. And that's the way I would think about it. Replicate the same behavior that you would do with your ads, with the post-click, and you'll be able to engineer and scientifically grow your company. And it might be the most important channel, the biggest discovery that you've found yet. Thank you so much. Our team is over at booth 5 if you want to stop by and say hi.